Hello, friends, and welcome to Pod Return to the Waking Sands. We are a Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast where we explore the lore and story of Hydaelyn and beyond. My name is Jen, and I'm joined by my co-host and researcher.
I'm Levi.
Hello, Levi.
Hello, Jen, and welcome to Heavensward.
Oh, we made it! We made it! And now we're going to be here for the next 3 years. But we made it!
Incorrect. Heavensward is not
2 years.
a realm reborn.
That's correct. A while. But yay. We made it. This is it. Heavensward Part 1.
Heavensward Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
Jen didn't believe it was going to happen.
I didn't.
But
I mean, obviously it was gonna, but
it did.
It was like in podcast time, it felt like the same amount of drag as post-air our time.
Good.
So
that was the true lived experience.
How nice.
I'm glad we could give you that full impression again, Jen.
It's very immersive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we strive for.
Great.
But today, we are beginning on Heavensward. First, a brief note about our release structure going forward. We now have access to piles of job quests. Piles. Everyone available in A Realm Reborn gets a part 2, and we have 3 new jobs.
It's a lot.
We are going to be interweaving these with the MSQ in terms of content chunks, as in like story chunks. So it will not be dissimilar to the way we handled the gaps between MSQ in the patch series for A Realm Reborn. As in, we're going to do a story chunk, then take a break for a short time to do a couple job quests, and then we'll switch back to the MSQ some more. Got to space them out appropriately, Jen. That's it. That's the PSA. On now to the episode. But first, Jen, what happened last time?
Well,
from the top.
Nope. I'm gonna say go ahead and listen to our previous episode.
Wow, that is so rude. We all know about the bloody banquet and so on, but what has happened between then and now? Why are we where we are, where we pick up?
Oh, well, Teleji Adeleji pointed the finger at the Scions for the grand plot to assassinate the Sultana, so we had to flee Ul'dah, losing track of some of our friends in the process, and the only people who made it out were us, Alphino, and Tataru. Though Alphino pronounces her name Tataru, and just fuck it at this point. We flee to Camp Dragonhead because we think Lord Orchefant will be able to help us, and he can. So that's why we're there. And hopefully we'll have time to... anyway. Now we've got to clear our names, and hopefully we can camp out in Ishgard for a while, but we don't know. But we're going to ask.
Great. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, no problem. Sultana's dead. Rabban lost an arm. Teleji Adeleji's dead. Winfilia is AWOL, Ishtola, Thankyrid, Ida, Papalimo, AWOL. Yep.
We pick up in Camp Dragonhead, dipping back into the intercessory to talk to Alphino and Tataru, and Alphino is getting restless.
I mean, we got to clear our names. We have all of this stuff that we need to do, and he wants to get a move on. I mean, he affirms this is copium, a new dawn awaits. This isn't the end of the world. He's trying to apply some salve to the situation. And Tataru suggested we head to Ishgard, and he's like, let's fucking do that. That's a great idea.
He is not like that. He says, you go on ahead to Ishgard. I will return to Ul'dah and set things right.
That's a dumb idea.
It is a dumb idea. I agree. But fortunately for us, there is an adult in the room, as Orchefant has just entered.
Pray, do not be so hasty, Master Alphino.
Lord Orchefant.
Full well do I understand your desire to clear your names. But now is not the time for drastic action. You yet have allies upon whom you can rely.
Yes, of course. Pray forgive my impatience.
I bring tidings. Count Edmont has decreed that the three of you be taken in as wards of House Fortemps. Under our patronage, you shall be granted access to the city proper.
Orshafant brings tidings that are good.
Tidings, comma, good.
Yay! Count Edmont is offering the manor of House Fortemps as our new home for the time being. And when, not if, but when our missing friends are found, they will be free to join us there as well. This is huge. Not only are we being offered asylum, but that asylum is being offered by one of the 4 high houses of Ishgard. I mean, like, we're sitting pretty. And Alfino affirms that the Scions of the Seventh Dawn will begin anew there. And Orshafant says, great, my manservant, or our manservant, will be waiting for you at the entrance of the city. And if you give your name to the guard at the Gates of Judgment, you'll be allowed right on through. So this is a huge moment because we've been flying past these gates for, well, years. And finally we can walk up and just walk through them at long last.
And now it's time for a wardrobe change. As Tataru points out, they say the winds can be rather fierce on the steps of faith. Be sure to wrap up before we go.
Okay.
And now Alphino and Tataru are decked out in their winter best.
Yeah.
Are you, Jin?
It's fine. I have my little white mage outfit that I'm just all about at the moment. And someone in the Discord was like, why are you wearing that ARR ass robe?
Yeah, why, Jin?
Because I like it. It's one of the best pieces of ARR gear. Or one of the best looking pieces of ARR gear.
Grading on a big curve. But yes.
Yeah, it's the brand new robe. And it's the same robe you get when you do the Hall of the Novice as a caster. I wore that shit, and I've said this before. When I got that robe on my main for the first time, I'm like, this is the best fucking chess piece I've seen yet. And I wore it forever. I glammed it on top of things. Anyway, it's not dyeable, which is stupid.
Yes, I agree.
Anyway, but I got that going, my little hat, and I'm super, super into it right now, so I'm not changing it.
Well, fine. I am going to try to run Dragoon as much as possible here.
Sure.
And I have the sweet PvP armor set.
Ooh. Can you imagine, like, walking into Ishgard, fresh off the street as a foreigner, and you show up in, like, your maxed out Dragoon gear? That just seems like cultural appropriation to the max.
I am the other Azure Dragoon, Jin.
Yeah, but to the layperson, like, look at this piece. Look at this fucking dickhole.
Wow.
Look at this guy. Look at this douchebag.
The Eye of Nidhogg chose me also. I am Estadian's equal.
You imagine, like, again, like a foreigner, dressed the way you are, walking in off the street into Ishgard for the first time in decades, and you're like, no, Nidhogg chose me! The Eye chose me! And everybody's like, okay, get your ass back to the room where it belongs.
Well, anyway, we do walk into the city, and nobody heckles us yet, and we get our voiced intro.
This is lovely.
Heroes once celebrated as saviors of Eorzea, brought low through treachery, their names blackened with royal blood. With memories of the lost and dreams of redemption, with hope yet in their hearts, they came.
And we get the Heavensward title card.
Screenshot of that. I was very excited. I'm sure you saw it.
I saw it, yes. Interestingly, our narrator is Count Edmont de Fortemps.
It's like there's just the slightest La Croix flavored P at the end of that.
Okay.
Fortemps.
Count Edmont de Fortemps.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It's different. It's subtle.
It is subtle.
It's subtle, but it's
like a LaCroix.
Exactly.
This is framed as excerpts from his memoirs. He's in our future looking back to our present events.
Mm-hmm.
And having crossed the steps of faith, we stride into the city through the interior gate, the Ark of the Worthy.
That's us.
We are worthy now, correct?
We have documents.
And not yet, we don't.
We don't have documents yet.
And we enter the city proper for the first time. We stride down a snow-strewn cobbled road, and we are dwarfed by the vertical spired stonework all around us. However, there are immediate signs of the Dravanian incursion. There is rubble strewn about, and if we peer over the edge, we can see chunks of the city itself have been broken off. There are raw edges to the city's stonework, scaffolding shoring up the damaged portions, and even there are frozen corpses of dragons that still remain from the earlier attack. There is also the seemingly infinite abyss of the Sea of Clouds. So hope you don't dislike heights, Jen.
It's an adjustment.
And there is a House Fortemps manservant waiting for us at the entrance.
There he is. He walks us to the area of the city called the Pillars. And this is where the highborn families live, basically. All of the manors of the 4 high houses can be found here in the Pillars. And he takes us to House Fortemps Manor, and Orgeron is waiting for us outside.
The manor is a 2-story building with a probably spacious attic beneath its steep roof to mitigate that snow load. Outside, Alphino remarks that this part of the city hasn't been touched by the ruin below.
Yep.
Noting a class divide that will be a problem later.
It's all up in here. Yeah. You can't help but notice it right away.
But for now, Horshaphon is waiting for us to show us inside, and he is psyched.
Well, he's always psyched. He's like, I want to take you on a tour of the city, but I can't right now because everybody's inside waiting to meet you, so let's go!
He cannot tell us how long he has waited for this day. Allow me to present my family home, Fortemps Manor.
It's very nice.
It is very nice. We step inside the warm, elegant interior, and we see the whole gang. Count Edmont himself. By his side are 2 younger Elezen, but we don't get to meet them yet. Kind of rude.
Yeah, they're just
there.
They're there. Do we get their names? I think
Nope,
we do.
We do not. We have not been introduced yet.
We have not, and we won't be introduced.
Not this episode.
Not right now yet.
There also, of course, are various guards and attendants and servants in attendance. Count Edmont is an imposing gentleman with stern features and swept-back dark hair and a thin, well-groomed mustache.
He looks, if you were to just pass by this dude on the street, he looks very severe. Like he would not be like a nice guy. Everything about him speaks to, like if you saw him in a movie, you'd be like, oh, he's the bad guy. Or he's got ulterior motives or something.
But
he's lovely.
He gives us a very warm greeting.
Yeah.
I, Count Edmond de Fortemps, do bid you welcome. As wards of House Fortemps, you shall be afforded every courtesy. My home is your home.
My companions and I are deeply honored, Count Fortemps.
The honor is mine, Master Alphino. Consider it an expression of our gratitude for your service to Ishgard.
Alphino worries for a moment about the cost of this accommodation. We are foreigners and somewhat notorious ones besides.
Yeah, I mean, this is... Alphino just comes right out with it. Like, hey, are you at all concerned about what people will think about you doing what you're doing? And Count Edmont confirms that, no, I'm not concerned at all. I mean, in difficult times, it's important to seek out allies, and that's exactly what he's doing. And he admits that our arrival certainly would raise some eyebrows. But if we continue on doing what we're doing, the Scion's mission, nobody will have any reason to say anything about anybody. And then Elfino tells them, like, well, of course we're going to continue on our mission. We plan to do exactly that. We're not going to skip a beat. We're going to continue doing what we do, despite the fact that there's only 3 of us, but we'll handle it. And Count Edmont then says we should explore the cities. This is our new home, and you're probably going to be here for quite some time. And that's when he hands us the documentation that confirms that we are wards of House Fortemps, and we have all of the privileges that one of
Status.
yeah.
Permissions.
The permissions and privileges that one can assume would be given to a highborn person. So that we got our documents. He doesn't think that we're going to have to show people these documents, but in the off chance someone decides they want to get weird with treating with foreigners, I mean, the gates to Ishgard have been closed to outsiders for decades. So, my little Lollafell ass and Elfino he's got weird clothes on.
Weird clothes, Elfino.
Right. Like, he's an Ellison, but he's got weird clothes on.
He's wearing a coat right now.
But it's not a, I almost said Charlene. It's not an Ishgardian. It's not an Ishgardian garb. We definitely look weird.
And Jen in her ARR ass robe.
My ARR ass robe. So, if somebody's like, I don't know, I don't think I want to do business with you, we can be like, swing. Yeah, you will. House Fortemps says you will. Anyway. So the manservant is going to be our guide around town. Not Orstrafon, unfortunately. So our first...
Unfortunately.
Jesus Christ.
And this will be the episode today. We're going to take an in-depth tour of the city, and then we will leave off there. Fair warning, this will be a zero-action episode, except when Elfino almost gets slapped later on. Or punched, more likely.
When does he almost get punched?
When he flexes on the poor person.
The drunk guy?
Spoilers, Jen.
Oh, Jesus.
But yes, that is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So we exit the manor back into the pillars. This, as we noted before, is the high-class zone raised up above the lower city. Our immediate area houses the nobility, but we can also find Ishgardian government and religious functions here. But first, let's talk about that place we just left Jen, the Fortemps Manor. House Fortemps is one of the original high houses of Ishgard, as Jen so noted, and their founder was one of Ishgard's founders. The sigil, a red unicorn on a black field, is from a legend where a unicorn guided them to Kurthus and to where Camp Dragonhead stands now. As such, House Fortemps has the most contact with outsiders of any Ishgardian house. To reach our first stop on the tour, we are going to head north down a statue-lined boulevard. These statues, Jen, what are they?
There is one for each of the 12 quote-unquote fathers of Ishgard, King Thordan I's Knights 12. So each one is a little different. But they're huge. They're probably 20 feet tall.
Yes. And we pass by those statues. They're called the Architects.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So we pass by those 12 knights and we arrive at a round plaza. A large plaza called the Hoplon, which sits under the gaze of Thordan's statue with his twin-plumed helm. And the name Hoplon is named, of course, for the bronze shield that is wielded by Haloni herself.
It is round. This is a very common...
It is round, and there are knights nearby, Jen. That is all.
I see.
They are knights around the round.
I see.
Plaza.
Knights of the Round Plaza?
Knights near the round plaza.
Yeah, so do whatever you guys want with that.
The plaza is in the middle of 3 major buildings. To the northeast is the tribunal. This is a round, almost Colosseum-like building, except tall. This building is where judgments are rendered, of course, and it is the Inquisition's headquarters. And this is where we can kick off the famous Dark Knight quest, which we will be doing later for sure.
Well, yeah, we gotta.
To the north is the vault, a towering structure with spires upon spires, which is the seat of government, offices of the clergy, and the home of the Archbishop himself, Thordan VII. And to the northwest is St. Raymonad's Cathedral, named after the church's first archbishop. Keeping with the height theme, this structure looks like 3 Gothic churches stacked on one another. Jen, did you recall to look up during your tour?
I did.
Nice.
I mean, it's where your eye goes. It's just up and up and up and up.
Well, these things are taller than the camera allows. You have to go into first person and back up to see the tops of these things.
It's pretty cool.
But we are going to deviate from the tour path now and descend southeast through the Arc of the Venerable. Here we reach a large but quiet street, which is near a couple manors and leads to the airship landing. But the main stop for now is the Athenaeum Astrologicum itself. This is the group that's responsible for that giant tower in Kurthis that we ran up and down countless times, especially during the Ixal tribe quests. Founded by Saint Gunriol de Durandare, who identified the link between the Dragon Star and the Dravanians' movements, this tower is where astrologians practice their art and aspiring students go to learn, including us later.
Gunriel, is that his name?
Or Gwenriel?
Maybe Genriel or Gwenriel.
Okay. Nailed it.
Gunriel. Almost like that couldn't possibly be correct.
You don't know.
I don't, but I feel like Goon probably isn't.
You know, we
accurate.
read left to right, Jen, and this is how it kind of came out visually. So,
Okay.
there we have it.
All right.
Gwenriel. No.
Goon.
I think Gwenriel is correct.
Okay.
Anyway, we can now return to the poor manservant and continue the tour.
Yeah, you went on a little side quest there to hit the Aetheryte, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Mhm.
Did you?
No, I'm following the manservant.
Wow, so
I circled back around
you
and went
have
there
not
myself.
nailed your full map yet, Jen.
Yes, I have. I went back after the fact. I'm
Oh,
not
I
going to
see.
leave the bro waiting. That's very rude.
He should have showed us this important location. It's his fault for being
Nobody
delinquent
else-
in his duties.
Nobody else in town uses Aetherites, apparently. Next stop. One of the interesting architectural bits about Ishgard, it's obviously a very vertical city, and they have actually made the structural elements, i.e. the buttresses, walkways. So these are arterial streets that are actually buttresses also, which means they're really, really steep. I'm like, I don't know how you get carts and goods and elderly people up these things, but there you go. Just a really, really cool thing. This is so much easier to navigate, in my opinion, than Limsa. There's a symmetry to it,
Yes.
which helps considerably.
Yep.
So I don't think we take one of these buttress walkways to... I had to take one to get to the last vigil. That's what I had to do. But anyway, we continue south to the Jeweled Crozier.
Home of Commerce.
Home of Commerce. This is where we are going to get all of our stuff. And since this is going to be our home for the foreseeable future, we are going to be introduced to the Maiden of the Markets, quote unquote, Lady Alessi?
I think Alaise is better.
Alaise?
Alessi, I don't see at all.
Aless? I'll say Aless. That sounds pretty.
Name Judge and Jen.
Maybe she's not a lady either. We'll just say she's the maiden
Her
of the
title
markets.
is Mistress.
Mistress Aless.
Mistress Aless, Master of the Markets.
She's the master of the markets. I said maiden of the markets.
You did. You're full of something right now, Jen.
I have it in my notes, master of the markets. I was just off the top of my head. Anyway.
This is a woman with a fancy thick coat and a lined face, which puts her around 70 in Final Fantasy years.
She is a Hur. She's a Huron woman. And she's chilling by a piping hot kettle.
She's chilling by a hot kettle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's Ishgard. You're going to be chilling. She is curious about who we are. I mean, obviously. Look at us. And is still curious even after we present our documentation. Because Well, I mean, seeing such a document is probably a little strange. So we're going to be, Alfino tells her, after we present our documents, we are going to be residing in Ishgard for some time. We're going to need sundry goods and such from, and he's like, I understand, Mistress Aless, if you are hesitant to accept the custom of foreigners. And she's like, no. Coin is coin. You will be more than welcome here. Nobody's going to refuse your money. And I'm like, oh, you know what? As an old Don at heart, that makes me feel right at home. I liked her for that. But whatever we could possibly need, any market stall is going to be more than happy to help us. We're good.
I am a big fan of the jeweled crozier in terms of the layout. A nice kind of dense street with the overlooking buildings all the stalls down there. I wish there were more NPC activities in the street itself.
There's some, but the Sapphire Avenue Exchange feels so much more bustling.
Yes.
Oh, and the Shaded Bower also just bustling.
Yeah.
The layout's great. It feels kind of Diagon Alley-ish because you've got these like half-timbered buildings up above. Again, very vertical. But the Jeweled Crozier, the market stalls, they go on for, I think, a lot longer than other market areas that we've seen so far. Except maybe in Limsa. That one is pretty long.
One's big.
Yeah. But it feels immersive and it feels great. And they all have different names. So instead of like a pot watch, for example, oh God, what was his name? It was like the Meat Man or something. But but everybody's got a slightly different title. And maybe some of these
pot watch, Meat Man,
the Meat
slightly
Man.
different.
It was something about meat. And I was like, oh, this guy's gonna have food. But just these little things that.
Anyway,
and then there's the woman who's talking to like an apothecarian, and she's forever asking about something for her boils. So
those persistent boils.
Yeah, you got anything for boils?
We're now going to head back down the city, away from the high-class zone down to the lower and poorer district, the Foundation. But we will deviate once more from the tour path. As we head down, we reach a shattered statue of a dragoon. This is around a fountain, which is not frozen, surprisingly. We take a right this time, and we find a bustling workshop, the Sky Steel Manufactory. This place is responsible for devising all the siege weaponry that is used to combat the Dravanians, and they have recently entered into a contract with the Ironworks to begin producing airships. They have also devised a firearm which may alter the balance of power in Ishgard, but we'll learn more about that in the Machinist questline.
Looking forward to that.
Nice. Below the manufactory are the Chocobo stables, featuring Ishgard's famous black chocobos. Now, Jin, we can return to our poor, neglected manservant.
This is like his least favorite thing to do.
Yes, and he has no name.
He's just the manservant.
Also, we're going to make his job a lot worse in a second.
Oh, I was like, guys, we're being so rude right now. So we are walked over to the Aetheryte Plaza, and he suggests if we haven't attuned, we should do that now. And Alfino says, hey, before we do anything else, I think we should decide where we go next. Let's put it to a vote. That, and the manservant is like, oh, okay, well, to the west we have this. To the northeast we have this. To the southeast we have this.
To the northeast is the Congregation of Our Knights Most Heavenly, which is a bulky, rounded building that serves as the Temple Knight headquarters, which is watched over by our favorite guard, Firm Albert.
Firm Albert! Also, that name, Congregation of Our Knights Most Heavenly, is the most, like, propagandist shit.
This gives me some Sandoria vibes from 11, as the temple knights there and here are responsible for defending national interests and keeping the peace within the city. And they're led by our pal, Sir Emmerich.
Sir Emmerich, the Lord Commander.
The manservant now points us to the south and east. Well, 'twould be best if you avoided that area. And this, of course, results in the opposite effect.
Yeah, like, ooh, well, why can't we go there? Alfino's like, well, why? And he says, in the most diplomatic way, our knights would not be able to, we couldn't guarantee your safety if you were to go there. And at that moment, perfect timing, a drunken hewer belligerently stumbles into our conversation. And he mocks us and by saying, yeah, if you walk by the broom, make sure you hold your noses. And the little lord in particular. And Alfino was like, yo, I'm no lord, all right?
Jen,
I am a humble traveler.
You gotta quote him because he biffs this entirely. You misjudge me, sir, for I am no lord, but a humble traveler.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, you sure let him know, Alfino.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's not at all what a lord would say. And then the drunk guy is like, well, I mean, if you want to see the real Ishgard, then head to the Forgotten Night for a drink. That is, if your nursemaids will let you.
Burn.
Oh! And then, of course, Alfino was like, you know what? That sounds awesome. And Tachiru was like, that sounds awesome. We're gonna go. And Manservant is like, fuck. The one place he's like, don't go there. And we're like, yes!
So we drag our poor guy over to the Forgotten Night, a tavern that spans the mid-level to the lower broom. On the way in, though, we can unlock hunts. Did you do this, Jen?
No. I know it's there. I did talk to when I walked in, and there's a person standing there, and an NPC, and I chatted with them, and they were like, this is something about Clan Centurion, and they don't accept just anybody, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. That sounds cool. But other than that, I didn't do anything.
Well, if you do, Jen, you can nab some hunt marks and get some Centurio seals.
Centurio seal.
Because the person who is loitering by this hunt board, ATN, she marks us as a fighter.
It's true.
Unlike with the grand companies out here, the clan runs the hunts. This clan is a ragtag band of glory hunters, mercenaries, and has-beens brought together by Sir Ludaste.
Lodast?
Sure.
Lodast. And then the girl up front, Etienne? Is it E-T-I-E?
It's fine. She's in the past. Stop living in the past, Jen.
Oh my God. You said it weird, though.
I'm trying, Jen.
I know.
These are unfamiliar combinations of vowels.
The Discord will correct us. We don't have to worry about it.
Great. Outsourcing.
Especially, I think Rena is going to be all up on our pronunciation.
Well, we got a lot of French names coming up, so I'm sorry.
I know. She also, she noted that I pronounced Orchifont. I've since corrected it as Horchifont, like Horchifont. And I did, but I'm pronouncing it better now.
And I follow your lead, Jen, so if I say things wrong, it's Jen's fault.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your honesty. Anyway, this guy, Sir Lodas. No.
Firm Albert and Lodas.
He is one of Ishgard's most noble of nobles. And Clan Centurio will track down any monster that gets too out of hand. So I do that. I unlock the deal and I grab some hunt marks so I can nab them in the wild. Now we step inside the Forgotten Night, and now our manservant really begins to sweat. Once more, I must urge you to reconsider. There are several gentlemen who appear less than pleased by our presence.
Well, they can suck it.
But Tachiru is loving it. She's
irrelevant here. This is great. So right away, we meet the proprietor of the Forgotten Night, a man named Gibrion. And judging by the patronage, the Forgotten Night enjoys the custom of almost all levels of Ishgard, top to bottom, mostly middle bottom, but You get everybody. And even within the Forgotten Night, there is a caste system going on here. So there's like an upper floor that has better food, better drinks, Papa John's. They serve the, middle class, upper middle class, nobility if they ever wander in here. But then if you get on downstairs.
It's not the upper class. This is for the more affluent travelers. It's for out-of-towners and off-duty knights who have money to spend, who don't have their manservants cater to them in their manners.
No, but you go downstairs and then it's the people of the broom, the quote-unquote, the locals. That's where they hang out.
And what is the broom, you ask? It is the lowest levels of the city. When the weather's foul and the broom rolls in thick, it's the poor sods living at the bottom who have to deal with it.
The broom also saw the worst of the recent attack as well. There is rubble everywhere. There's scaffolding everywhere. It's filthy. The people are cold. They're probably suffering from maybe a little too much somnus. It's rough. It's rough down there.
I don't know if they get somnus out here.
I'm
sure there's drugs,
substance
but
abuse rampant.
I don't know if somnus is here because of the climate and because of the closed borders.
Fair.
At least it would be harder to do so. It might be more of like a noble's drug. I don't know.
Right? Like cocaine. Well, the upper levels, they enjoy the protection of the knights. That's where the ballistas are. They get better views, better weather. It's nothing new.
Yep.
So after a bit of chit chat with the proprietor, everything is super great. Oh, also, if you go talk to, there's an older, not older, but a grown ass, an adult. Is it an Ara gentleman at a table, and then a young lady, like a girl, like a teenager.
Yeah, these guys come up much later for us.
Much later, yes. But I talked to them, and they were like, "We're busy. Go away. This table is taken. Go away." Like, okay, all right.
They are. They got some real shit going on, Jen.
They do have some shit going on. So
to
anyway,
be continued.
The manservant, in very, very politely, suggests that it might be best to head back to Fortemps Manor. And Tataru is not having it. She is not ready to leave. She's like, "Do you see all these people out here? Oh my God, I could live here and have all the most amazing information. It would just fall at my feet every day. This place is ripe with intel." So she tells the rest of us, you guys go back. I'm going to stay here. And manservant is like, oh God, no. There's no way. One, that I just let you just run around by yourself, and two, you're a girl. And Alfina was like, I mean, okay, but what's your game here? So she tells them, there's information, there's people. I'm going to talk to everybody. I'm going to hang out. It's going to be great. And he's like, all right, get after it, girl. And he's like, yeah, I mean, I was the...
Notably, Jen, she is fishing for info on the Scions.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. And because this place is where all manner of travelers and whatever come through, this is the epicenter of information in Ishgard. And I agree with her. And she's like, I was basically the honorary bouncer of both the Waking Sands and the Rising Stones. I can handle my shit. And Alfina was like, yes, you can. Have a great time. And she's like, I will. Woo. So we go back, and she's like, all right, I'm going to get a drink. I'm going to get a couple of drinks. I'm going to hang out. So we head back.
And we end there. We leave Tataru back at the knight, and we will see what unfolds in our new home next time. That's it. Next time, more MSQ.
Yep. More stuff in Ishgard.
More stuff in Ishgard.
And that will do it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for listening. And thank you for, as Adele would say, rolling in the broom. If you want to get in touch with us, you can. Levi's face is so good. At podreturnffxiv at gmail.com. And check us out on Blue Sky at podreturnffxiv. If you check the show notes for our Discord, you can join us for our group runs, post memes, glams, pets, whatever. It's a great time, and we would love to have you. And last but not least, our Patreon, patreon.com/podreturnffxiv, where for $1 a month, you get access to everything else that we do. That includes these seasonal events from 14 and our Final Fantasy XI series, Vana'diel Van Splainer. Now that we're embarking on a brand new expansion, let your friends and FC mates know. They can hop on. Now's a great time. And with that, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day or night, and we will see you next time.